long enough to talk about my fixation, so it's day ruining time, bitch.
It's not always about the money, Spider-Man. Star vs. the Forces of Evil is seemingly the only show I have intimate knowledge of, so naturally, to keep up with my tradition of ruining your day, I've decided to yet again dive into whatever this show has to offer, so long as it's not the ending or the shipping. And I figured a good distraction from the end times is reminding you that a character named Doop Doop exists. Like every TV show ever, Star vs. the Forces of Evil has a wide ensemble of heroes, villains, heroes becoming villains, and vice versa, but then you have the side characters from NPCs to 1-2-3s. Whether they appear for a single episode or have a significant role across slightly more than a single episode, they have one thing that brings them all together. You forgot they existed. Ultimately, there were plenty of characters that'll be important for one or more episodes, until they're not. And that's what this video is about. I'll be looking into a number of characters who used to be semi-frequent, and even some one-offs that had their chance to shine until they didn't. And with the limited brain functionality that I have, I will try to speculate who they are, what purpose they served, and most importantly, what happened to them. Obviously, these are side characters, so they're not gonna be important, no shit, but I feel like side characters in media really add to the atmosphere and personality of the setting. You can see this take great effect on shows like Gravity Falls and The Simpsons, where the supporting cast can be just as memorable as the main one, if not even more so. And while Star vs. hasn't quite reached that threshold, there was still some fun to be had with some of these guys, when they don't disappear after one episode or gradually fade into the background as soon as they had no idea what to do with them. I will get to you two in a moment. So, without further ado, it's time to get a little weird and a little wild. Here's the forgotten characters in Star vs. the Forces of Evil. A grim reminder that I have still not reached second base with a woman. Oh, and I've opened up a Patreon now. It's nothing much, but by clicking the link in the description and becoming a member, you get to have early access to my upcoming videos, assuming I get them done on time. Not to mention, by becoming a member, you get to see your name at the end of my future videos, and also some behind the scenes stuff as well. So, click the link in the description and join the new Mr. Stardweeb Patreon today. Yay! Starfan13 first appeared in the episode Brittany's Party. As the name suggests, she often shows her utmost affection for Star, when she's not borderline a stalker. So much so that she dons a makeshift costume based on her comfort person. Starfan was one of those extras who initially had a one-off role in the episode, but was a favorite amongst the show's staff, so she became a recurring character for the first couple of seasons, even being played by Darren Nefsey herself. Also, she's a canon Starco shipper, as shown in the Season 2 finale Star Crushed, completely fainting at Star's confession to Marco, and according to a live chat, even wrote a bajillion fanfics about the two. Thankfully, as far as I know, Between Friends isn't one of them. Now that's how I know she's one of the nicer Starco shippers.
We got a question from Instagram?
Starfan13 isn't necessarily forgotten, but sort of vanished by the end of Season 2, only to be brought back for Stump Day, and in Britta's Tacos, makes her second to last appearance chilling with Star all day long. A very fitting send-off to a very creepy, but not creepy fangirl. She's kind of like an opposite Lenny Baxter. No one quite knows what her real name was, though she claims to have given up on one long ago. However, according to a Reddit AMA, Darren believes her real name might actually be Amanda Jacobs, which really got me thinking, what was her life like before she became a Star fan? It's a possibility that, perhaps, she might have just been a normal girl, struggling to find her place in the world. But when she saw Star for the first time, she also found purpose. To be just like her, mimicking her appearance and even interests in such a way that now it's become her new personality. Star might have low-key actually saved her life, because now she discovered a new side of herself that she never experienced before. She became the second best Star there is.
Oh my gosh!
But what happens if she loses this part of her personality? If she no longer idolizes Star, what's next? Would she move on to someone else? And that's why I think it's more important to accept yourself for who you are, rather than who you wanna be. Starfan13 can be who she wants, so long as she doesn't lose touch with who she truly is inside. A quirky little teenager who's a big fan of Star Butterfly.
Hey, wait a minute.
Charlie Puth is an American singer-slash-songwriter known for such hits as Attention, We Don't Talk Anymore with Selena Gomez, and that one Fast and Furious song. Quite a big name they got for such a small role, but also, I lied to you.
Bitch.
His name is actually Charlie Puth, not Poof, you blockhead, although he is voiced by Wacko, so is still a big name regardless. In The Other Exchange Student, Charlie arrives in the morning under the alias of a Scandinavian stereotype, but Star doesn't like him, since he becomes the heavy favorite amongst the Diazes. So she turns into a conspiracy nut thinking, there's no Gustav in HR, Scandinavia's a goddamn ghost town. And after she nearly kills him thinking he's gonna cook Marco's family, he reveals the truth that he's not actually Scandinavian, but an aspiring chef from Bakersfieldville, with dreams of living up to his hero Guy Fieri and turning his town into Flavor Town. Hence, he moved in with the Diazes, called his meat supplier, and carries an axe like Jason. It's for the firewood. Ultimately, Star agrees to keep his secret on the condition that he fucks off, which he does, before moving on to another house now disguised as Monsieur Gustav H. Despite the ominous music, he only ever showed up as barely notable cameos in 2 other episodes. Otherwise, he's never mentioned again. I still don't know what they were cooking with this ending, and what was he doing with the Diazes in their sleep? That's fucking creepy. I will never carry your flame. In the episode Trick Star, Star and Marco arrive at Sensei's birthday party, where they're introduced to the stage magician, Preston Changeo, a clever play on Presto Changeo, one who lacks the ability to create his own joy. So as he performs these magic acts, such as pulling a quarter from someone's ear, he sucks the joy right out of them.
What?
The more he absorbs, the taller his hat gets, leaving them with only a tear in their eyes. Emblematic of every Rosalina Stan's reaction to the Mario Galaxy movie, Star immediately catches on to his tricks, but Marco doesn't believe her, so she commands him to leave, but lets him stay just so the party isn't ruined, promising that he won't cause any more depression. No siree, pinky promise. He then breaks this promise during his grand act, prompting Star to blast the magician into revealing his secrets. But miraculously, Star's the one that got everyone a little angry for some reason, except Sensei, whom despite being disappointed already knew he was kind of a weird little fuck. So, he kidnaps him.
Oh no! Oh shit!
Right before finding out that he pulled a Houdini and made his escape trick. Preston was sadly just a guest character who never appeared again, especially since he's lovingly played by the real-life magician, Weird Al Yankovic. While it's unclear where he is, I may as well break my personal oath of never bringing up the finale and assume that the erasure of magic had something to do with it. Whether it killed him or drained him of his power, it doesn't matter, because he still managed to perform quite possibly the greatest act of prestidigitation the world will ever see. I hope I pronounced that word right, because otherwise a bunch of magicians are gonna want me dead for this. Baby was introduced in the episode Baby. A fork was also found in the kitchen, not that she needs one because this little kitten's got a ferocious appetite, devouring everything in a cloud of mist, completely mogging a certain fat orange fuck who just couldn't help but eat my lasagna. God damn it, I hate Mondays. In this episode, Queen Moon worries for Star after she loses Glossaric and the Book of Spells, so she summons an evaluator to check up on her. Think of Baby like a magic landlord. If Star's magic skills improve, she'll give her a passing grade to stay on Earth. Knowing Star, however, she has a closet full of secrets, Sonic Unleashed installed on her wand, and can't even levitato this apple. So yeah, she failed.
How'd I do?
Get the fuck out. What?
What? You two are evicted as fuck!
Who wants sandwiches?
But as a last-ditch effort, Star splits that apple in half, and then it grows into a big, beautiful tree, and a shiny new red one falls into her paws. Baby then re-evaluates Star, saying her magic surpassed that of her own mother's. This is the only episode she appears in, so where'd she go? Obviously her work is done, and it could just be a generational thing, where she previously evaluated the other queens of Muni, including Eclipsa. But let's go a little deeper with her possible fate. How does a magic being who evaluates magic users based on how far they are in their magic training just magically disappear? I'm going to talk about the ending again. Star finds out that magic sucks actually, so she uses the whispering spell on the realm of magic to break the bond, tear the fabric, cleave the stone, kill the completely erasing magic. In other words, the baby didn't make it. I'm going to hell.
Government came and took my baby!
In this episode, the bounce lounge is gonna bounce, and by bounce, I mean close up shop because the mob's after them, so they gotta get the bounce crew back together. Now, who is this so-called bounce crew, you might ask? Well, there's Kelly, a Weekend at Bernie's reference, and Johnny Blowhole, who went from a party dude to a party pooper deck dude.
Wash your dick with soap and water.
They convince him to get his mojo back or something, which he does. Honestly, the only interesting thing about him was that he's played by Pauly Shore from a Goofy movie. That's nice. The other one's a floating Q-tip that's inanimate, but her scarf and headphones aren't. Okay. Her name is Lady Scarfs-a-Lot. I'm gonna assume she doesn't have a wiki page since this is her only episode. Fucking Doop gets stuff written about him, but not this character? Come on, give me something to work with. They get the band back together and they throw a never-ending party. Despite all the money they made, they're still shutting down because the owner turned out to be old as shit. Oh, and the owner's name is Millie Sparkles. I'm also gonna assume she doesn't have a wiki page. Don't really have much to say about these guys. They're just introduced for this one episode and never again. Well, except Jonathan Blowhole here. He was more prominent in the ill-fated Deep Trouble comics, which is a video in of itself, don't you worry. But basically, Ponyhead gets accused of a hate crime against fish people, so Johnny Goodman comes in as her lawyer, but he actually sucks, so he sides with a shark instead. You just can't trust a dolphin. Dolphins. They only think about flipping. They're noisy. After that, he was completely ignored. I wonder if Pauly Shore still remembers this guy, though he probably detransitioned from his dolphin self long ago and became a wooden boy instead. Now I could have ended this segment off on a dolphin joke, but I didn't think it would serve any purpose.
Oh, brother.
Alright, before we transition to the next segment, I'm just gonna go get my machine gun, yeah, and also my assistant. Didn't they tell you to not bring a sword to a gunfight? Of all the characters I've chosen, Kelly is the only one who's practically a main cast member, leaving you, the viewer, to ask, what? No, she's not forgotten. She's in the season 3 intro. That has to amount to something. And to an extent, you'd be right, though it's not like we collectively forgot about Kelly as much as the show forgot about what to do with Kelly. Let me explain. She made her debut in the episode Goblin Dogs as one of the many customers waiting in line to try out one of those coveted tasty dogs. She is classed as a Woolet, a being whom on the outside looks like Cousin It, but on the inside looks like a prototype Anne Boon Choi. In any case, she's shown to be a silent type up until the latter half of the episode, and is just generally a sweet person for most of her screen time. Typically shown hanging out with Star and her friends, and is surprisingly OP. She's a master swordsman, loves pro wrestling, and has floofy hair that sort of works on TARDIS rules, where it's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. Sadly, this is where her deep depression comes in, following her back and forth breakups with her boyfriend Tad. For what reason did they break up? I don't know. The dude was probably an anti-vaxxer. In the episode Lava Lake Beach, they finally break up for real this time, though Tad still hangs in her hair, so after Marco negotiates with him, so to speak, he leaves, and from there it seemed like things were okie doke, I choked on a coke. Marco and Kelly regularly hung out together, and even became part of the short-lived Marknificent Seven, with a few other guys I forgot about. Huh. Unfortunately, no matter the depression, seemingly all they did with Kelly up until the final episodes was relationship drama. And I know I wasn't going to talk about that, but damn it, just this once, okay? Okay, the season 4 episode, Kelly's World, is honestly a pretty cool one conceptually, because you get to see her civilization and how it revolves around combat, but more importantly, we get to see Marco and Kelly really hitting it off. Awesome. They both have a shared love of martial arts, they come from the same background of dealing with breakups, so naturally, they became breakup buddies. Cool. Until you realize, oh shit, there's a Starko arc. The literal next episode, Stark. They go back in time to the first Blood Moon Ball to get Starko off the menu. That's right, they went back in time to the first Blood Moon Ball to get Starko off the menu. The curse is lifted, they're all on good terms, and Kelly is seemingly no longer single. Isn't that swell? I'm right behind you, aren't I? A great disturbance in the Force was felt as soon as a boy and his DC-700XE reared its ugly head in. I get to talk about this now. Yay! You have a Dragon Cycle? It's not just any Dragon Cycle, it's the all-new 2019 700XE. There's a fart joke in this episode. You know what else had a fart joke? Kung Fu Panda 4, what does that tell you? His bike number says 67, for fuck's sake, I wanna die. As if season 4 didn't already drop the ball faster than a prepubescent teenager, Marco and Kelly broke up. Yeah, why did they break up? I don't know. Did we at least get to see this breakup in an episode? Nope. It just happens off screen. Despite everything Kelly went through, they just casually dropped this bombshell for no reason other than to say, yeah, Kelko is fucking cooked. They bring it up like it's nothing, and it was nothing. They never mention it again. Oh, and guess what? Take a wild guess what happens next.
But you can't do this to me. You know how much I sacrificed?
To say Kelly deserved so much better would be an understatement. Since then, she took part in the war against Mina Loveberry, who's the endgame villain by the way, and after nearly dying from a Silurian blade, she's healed of her wounds and sent back to her home dimension thanks to the erasure of magic. Thank fucking God she didn't go out like this, man. I would have actually been depressed. Although, this lovely piece of streamily artwork confirmed that she's found a new partner, so you know, that's good to know. Don't know how she left her dimension, but hey, look on the bright side. At least she found another way to fix a broken heart. With duct tape. Seth is a very special case here, because unlike every other character I've chosen for the video, he never appeared in a single episode of this show. So, who is Seth? I know that he's green, and he looks like Toffee, but all of his backstory comes directly from pre-show lore. As for the show, nothing. It's all in the guidebook, specifically the Magic Book of Spells. It's just like the one in the cartoon. It goes over the history of all the past queens of Muni, including their respective spells and ones that we've never seen in the show before. This whole book could honestly make for an entire season's worth of prequel content. Like, if Star Versus is already seen as the Game of Thrones of cartoons, then this is the House of the Dragon of cartoons, but as a book. There's a lot of interesting stuff here, but for now we'll only focus on Comet's chapter and Eclipse's chapter, even though I'm not supposed to. They both extensively mention this Seth of Subtarsus guy. Basically, he's this crusty old extremist with a centuries-long grudge against humans, one whom many Septarians looked up to. Oh yeah, Septarians are these monster lizards that are harder to kill than cockroaches after a nuke. The Septarians in general were feared by just about everyone, even monsters, but they especially feared Seth for his hatred for humans. He straight up wants them dead, going against Comet's peace treaty between the two races. He even declined her invitation to her royal banquet, basically telling her,
I hope you all fucking die.
And this just so happened to have been the final page of her chapter. We would never find out what else she wrote after this because Toffee lived up to his master's wishes and, well, you know. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say Toffee's master? I meant to say his idol. While it was never confirmed, it was speculated that Seth had a direct influence on Toffee, knowing his hatred for the Mumin monarchy. Furthermore, the book states that Seth was, quote, dangerously attractive to newer generations of Septarians, including, and presumably, Toffee, prompting him to assassinate Moon's mother and pretty much continue the monster-Mumin conflict for years to come. But you might be wondering, if Seth was that much of an influence on Toffee, then where is he? Why does no one bring him up? Why is he never shown? Well, there's a good reason for that, which I will read from this Villains Wiki trivia page, verbatim. Despite appearing in the book, Seth never appeared nor was mentioned in the show itself. The reason for this is because he's dead. So yeah, there's our answer. That being said, assuming that all the speculations are true, Seth could have possibly been the most important character in the show. After all, he was the reason why Eclipsa created her darkest spell that Moon would use to eradicate Toffee's finger, on top of also potentially being what drove Toffee to do his bidding in the first place. Okay, that's enough reading for today. Let's get back to more reading. Yay! Doop Doop. What the hell is Doop Doop? Well, Doop Doop is Star's very first magic spell she created, not to be confused with the first one she was taught, being the Whispering spell. He only ever appeared in 2 episodes, with his grand debut being Doop Doop. I liked the older name better. The whole thing is just Star saying her goodbyes to everyone before she and Tom go on a road trip, since she's no longer responsible for Muni. Everyone except for Doop Doop. What, don't you remember Doop Doop? He's a talking broomstick who's essentially this show's very own version of a glup shitto, one who was locked in an outhouse for God knows how long, showing no animosity towards Star whatsoever. But that's besides the point. Turns out he's only brought up because Star can't actually decide on where to go. This rightfully upsets Tom, so he goes forth on his travels alone, letting Star rethink her life for a moment, which is nice. Until she goes back to Earth to see Marco again, just like the good old days, oh boy! Except this time, he's got a little sister now, instead of a little brother. That's some wholesome stuff. Oh wait, this was about Doop Doop, so what happened to him? Well, let me put it to you like this. He's dead, just like Baby or the Magic High Commission. The erasure of magic also took effect on spells, hence Doop Doop went the way of the Do-Do. I didn't even bring up the fact that he's voiced by Justin Roiland. Holy crap, Rick and Morty themselves, I never would have guessed by his voice. This wasn't even his first role in a Disney cartoon, but it was his last. If you know, you know. In hindsight, maybe destroying magic wasn't such a bad idea after all. Knock knock, who's there? Orange. Orange who? Orange, you glad I didn't joke about how he looks like Tongue's the whore? Fuck you! On the topic of Season 4, there's an episode called Ransomgram, where Marco's Dragon Cycle Nachos gets kidnapped by wraiths demanding the return of their blade, so he and Star enter the Never Zone, and summon Brunzetta, a goddess of thunder, complete with her Mjolnir axe, all without a single bit of paperwork from Marvel no less. She was Marco's trusted ally who went on many dangerous quests during his 16-year hunt for Hekapoo clones. Star in particular is extremely infatuated by her, which honestly checks out. I always knew she liked women. She tags along helping them free Nachos, only to reveal that Marco actually stole the Neverblade in exchange for her. cursing the rapes with a demon. Marco returns the blade, trapping the demon, and Brunzetta disappears. This is honestly kind of a sad one because she had a lot of potential. She's got a cool design and an even more kick-ass music theme. It sounds like something I hear in Spider-Verse. Wait. Oh my god, I gotta write that down for my movie treatment. Tragically, however, Brunzetta only appeared for just 2 episodes, one of which may as well be a cameo, which brings us to the latter episode, Gone Baby Gone, where Hekapu leaves the damn portal open and his sister and Meteora go to the Never Zone. He once again summons her, but literally just for a joke. She doesn't tag along, she doesn't do anything, Marco just asks her for directions. That's it. We never see this character again after this episode. What was even the point? Oh, and guess what? She completely forgot about Star now, since time moves differently in this dimension. I don't like Season 4, Sam I am. I'd rather eat green eggs and ham. I wonder if Dr. Seuss Yowie is canon. Hello, welcome to Redacted. How may I take your order? Yeah, I'd like to try a Mr. Stardweeb video with light substance and extra reference humor, deeply cut, and I want it made in time. Alright, that'll total to about 21 pages or however long the video will be. You may proceed to your next window. Sorry about the wait, sir, but here is your Mr. Stardweeb video with light substance and extra reference humor, deeply cut as you may. I'd like to make a last-minute order too. Yeah, believe it or not, this extremely late addition to the video is a pretty good transition to characters in Season 1 that used to be mainstays in the supporting cast, but gradually ended up having nothing else to do for the remainder of the show. Exhibit A, Miss Skullnick. In the early episodes of the show, she was introduced as this grouchy old bitch who hates her job and seemingly can't get laid. As a man in my 20s, I can relate. In Matchmaker, Star gets an F for fantastic, but that's actually bad, so to get an A, she accidentally fixes her up, turning her into a smelly Osmongold. After shenanigans ensue, she inadvertently gets hooked up with a sexy Minotaur, and don't even take my word for it, the pilot literally has her staring at his tight ass. The show was unhinged, man. But like in all relationships, she gets effed over in the A. You know, thrown into a portal, and subsequently got grouchier by the next episode, consuming large quantities of meat, and often gives off cynical remarks. Again, relatable. That was until Interdimensional Field Trip, where she and Star take on a leadership role to see who's the fun one. They go to another dimension, and while Star struggles with responsibility, Skullnick enters a troll exhibit. Upon learning the advantages that trolls have over humans, such as better physical strength and lifespan, she fully accepts her current self. And when shit does predictably hit the fan, she uses her newfound strengths to rescue her students from danger. You know what? It's actually nice that they tried giving one of the side characters an arc, where she goes from being against her new form to being neutral towards it, and now embracing it, to finally take her job seriously for once. It's also the final episode where she does anything substantial. By the next season, she just ended up being mostly sidelined. Sometimes she'll be involved in an episode's plot, but they don't fully commit to her being a troll, nor does it impact the show in the long run. Not that it really matters, I mean, at least they tried doing something with her, but they could just as well change her back into a human, and most of the events going forward would stay the same. And I feel like the creators knew this too, because according to one of the show's writers on Reddit, she reverted back to a human after Star took that magic out back. So yeah, that was completely pointless. And once the show shifted gears, she was completely absent until the very last season, where she made a wordless cameo in British Tacos, which now that I mention it, is just blatant nostalgia bait for the first 2 seasons, like, ooh, I remember Star Fan 13, remember Oscar, I remember.
It's you!
Alfonzo and Ferguson. You poor bastards. I'm not gonna lie, these two were the reason I made this video. With all the other characters I've talked about, some quick research had to be done in order to refresh my memory on who these guys even were. I even checked the wiki, as opposed to exclusively watching the fucking show I am a fan of. But not these two. Nuh-uh. My memory is a steel cage when it came to these guys. If you can believe it, they used to appear pretty frequently throughout the first season, ever since the episode Matchmaker. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, I forgot they were in the show, but that's okay. They only mattered for like 2 episodes, I think. They're usually roped into the episode's plot, tag along with the main characters, or they're just there because, you know, whatever. They were Marco's closest friends up until Star came along. Surely there's something worth noting about them. Well, they're eccentric, they take a liking to Star's magic antics, they play D&D, they suck at picking up chicks despite being the cool kids, and, I don't know, what do you want from me? One of them's fat and ginger, and the other guy sounds like fishy boopkins. Aside from that, I guess they're fine, but kind of the most one-dimensional friend characters you can get out of a show like this. Apparently, they were only added at the request of Disney executives, thinking Marco needed more friends, which is really fucking funny because the main character literally did just that. Hell, I'd argue had it not been for Star, Marco would have never experienced a life outside of being the token safe kid. He went places he never thought he'd be. He dated his high school crush. Granted, it was for a brief moment, rest in peace, but they're still on good terms. There's a fucking motorbike in the background. I'll bet it's Marco and his goddamn dragon cycle. And with how many characters they introduce who grow to have a close relationship with Marco, it leaves you to wonder, what purpose did these two serve to his character? Because as far as we know, nothing. They're just Marco's friends because the show said so, and by the end of the first season and the majority of the next, they slowly faded into the background, only appearing as mere cameos with barely any dialogue. As a matter of fact, even the goddamn show acknowledges this.
Ferguson! Alfonzo! I haven't talked to you guys all year, but you're always there in the background doing your thing!
This is the funniest send-off I think I've ever seen. This is basically just a roundabout way of them saying, I'm gonna be totally honest with you, I forgot you were here. And yeah, she was right, they did nothing with them, only appearing in Sophomore Slump and one more time in Britta's Tacos, where they mistaken Marco's little sister for his daughter, because I guess everyone thought Star and Marco had a baby. The dude's like 15, he's not old enough for that kind of commitment. Or is he? And I didn't even bring up the fact that originally, at the end of Sophomore Slump, look, there they are in Muni. Why are they there? Beats me, but apparently they would have studied magic and learned the power of friendship. A sacred floater, a chemotherapeutic bomb. This might have actually been made as a joke, because why would you dedicate even more of these lore-driven seasons to even more filler episodes, unless they were planning some sort of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead type spin-off, where they would have just wandered around an empty Muni while Star deals with racism or something. Like, imagine Lion King 1.5, but instead of Timon and Pumbaa, it'd just be these dudes trying and failing miserably to take down Meteora. Wait, hold up. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get my writing stick.
One day later.
Nothing. No ideas. Useless. Empty brain. Alright, I think I'm done talking about this. This might have been my favorite segment to write, because I knew from the start that these two were pretty much completely useless by the end of the show. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. They probably would have deserved better if they did get that spin-off, I don't know.
An unexpected visitor will soon arrive.
See? No one's here. Now, who wants nachos?
I am the great Cornholio. I need TV for my bunghole.
Brittany made her first proper appearance in School Spirit. She's rich, spoiled, and hates the main character. Jeremy first appeared in Monster Arm. He's rich, spoiled, and hates the main character. Notice something? Look, I'm a big Season 1 meat writer, and Narwhal Blast to my head, I still can't for the life of me tell you what separates these two from one another to not put in this one segment. But it's worth a shot. One is the head cheerleader, but only cause she paid the school a shit ton of money. She's got a bad singing voice, she'll only be associated with people she knows. Oh, and she's probably racist. The other one's a little kid who's a black belt, but only cause he engages in rigged karate classes, and his parents buy him fancy equipment. Yeah, that's about it. For all intensive purposes, these two are the exact same character. It's crazy how this show has not one or even two, but three rich douchebag archetypes that hate the main characters. Except Tom was more interesting because he actually had an arc. While he was very rich, he wasn't spoiled. He actively tried to redeem himself despite failing to win back his ex. Now he's part of the main cast. These two, on the other hand, were completely ignored by the end of the second season. I suppose they did serve their purpose as Star and Marco's respective rivals, but this is especially odd for Brittany, since comparatively to other Disney animated shows, the rich girl ends up being redeemed in some way by the middle point, most of which actually end up being the main character. But she never ended up this way. Instead, she's just drowning her sorrows away over a fucking possum statue. Oh yeah, that was a thing. Collateral Damage just so happened to have been the last episode she vocally appears in. I also completely forgot to acknowledge this, but there's one episode where they very briefly imply that she's asking about her arrogance during a counseling session. So clearly they had something there, but the fact I didn't bring it up until now should speak volumes. Normally, this would be the part where I wonder what was even the point of establishing an entire bully character, only to have another one who actually grows an arc. And yeah, it keeps me up a bit, I won't lie. But then it hit me. Something snapped. Something inside of me. The one thing that hasn't occurred to me until the moment I started writing this video was this goddamn face. To give Brittany Wong or something credit where it's due, if she didn't reveal her secret weapon, then Star would have never made that sus facial expression that's now become associated with the very channel you're subscribed to. Which, when I put it like that, sounds creepy, but the point is, this face perfectly embodies that feeling of being both disturbed and oddly amused at something at the same time. The versatility of this photo is immaculate. So thank you, Brittany. You get a point, just for that. Or maybe 2 points, because let's be honest, you also low-key confirmed that Star likes girls. He looks like a scrawny bling bling.